freaking first cut. Golly.
Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your round one recap, round two preview episode for this week's Farmers Insurance Open. And joining me to break it all down, it's him. It's Kyle Porter, KP. Happy Thursday evening.
Yeah, it was a fun day at golf. We've got a leaderboard that we have to kind of interpret because we're on two very different courses. But look, it's always fun when guys like Rory and Rahm and Koepka are playing well. I don't know where Koepka ended up, but I thought it was a lot of fun to watch compared to, some of the other weeks we've had, just because there's a lot bigger names in the field.
You described this leaderboard as stupid, but we'll get to that in 1 second. Before we do, that's a tease. That's a professional tease.
I did.
Before we get to that, let's talk about the playing conditions out there, KP, because there is storm in the forecast for Friday, and preemptively, the PGA Tour says, okay, guys, here's what we'll do. Let's play preferred lies. And I will tell you, Kyle Porter, there is nothing that golf Twitter hates more than a proactive preferred lie.
Yeah, it felt kind of weak, right? Like I get why they did it, but it's almost like you're taking this thing that may or may not happen and you're erring on the safe side. Mm-hmm. And safe is the wrong word. You're erring on the side that the players that the players will be happy about. It's like, I don't know. Like, do I want the players happy all the time? I guess, but that's the thing. Like, if you're the PGA Tour, you certainly do. But as a fan, as somebody who covers it, I saw somebody bring up, we don't do this at the Open Championship. Like, you get on the wrong side of the draw, and it just is what it is. So I kind of think it's kind of goofy. Like, I don't know. What do you think?
I'd almost actually make the case that you should do it more often at major championships, because it's like, well, this is once a year we have the Open Championship and it's really important. So we want to make sure that it's fair. We've got 50 PGA Tour events. If you get on the wrong side of the draw, we'll see you next week. Like, it's not that big of a deal. So I actually, by that logic, would almost prefer them to only do it in the bigger spots.
Yeah, that's a good point. But then the problem comes in if the weather thing is 50-50 and then all of a sudden half the time you're playing preferred lies and there's no weather, and it's just like, what is this? Like, what's going on here? So I'm always going to err on the other side probably and say, like, just let it be, c'est la vie.
And it looks super goofy when you have the best players in the world in 70-degree weather, 65-degree weather, beautiful skies in Southern California, and they have ball in hand, which is always great to see. This leaderboard,
also known as the Reed.
Yes, he's always in hand. Speaking of perfect professional segue, it is Patrick Reed without a single rules infraction that we saw. So all good there. No controversy. It is Patrick Reed on his play alone at the top of the leaderboard, 8 under par, a dazzling round. No bogeys on the card. KP, he played the North course. So we can talk about the differences here. Is essentially a 4-shot difference between the North and the South course. But hey, Patrick Reed went out there and he played well.
Yeah, he did. He was an interesting guy coming in. I've kind of been on him recently, and he missed the cut last week. And then all of a sudden he pops up with a 64. And, I thought I go back to, I can't remember if it was Mark or Greg that made the point on Tuesday of like, hey, Torrey seems like a driver's paradise. And in a lot of ways it is. The top 10 guys that we see there are usually really good off the tee and from tee to green, but it can also be a place where you kind of have to scrap it around a little bit. I think it was Greg that made that point because he was talking about Spieth, and that applies a lot to Patty Reed, right? Like, now we'll see what happens when he goes to the South course, bad weather. He might have a 78 in him, but at least on Thursday, and if you do the math on it, so he's 8 under the scoring out. So what did he gain? Five strokes on the field at the North course?
Yeah, actually like 5.5. Yeah.
Okay. So that's pretty good. I mean, that's a really good round, but it's not, I'm having trouble again doing the math here. It's not as good as some of the rounds on the South course.
So actually Ryan Palmer was actually 7.5 shots better than the field on the South course.
And so was Peter Malnati. And even
Correct.
so, Rory finished at 4. So basically him and Reed shot the same round compared to like, this is a great lesson on strokes gained. People all the time are like, hey, what is strokes gained? What is strokes gained? This is it. Like, this is the definition of how much better were you than the players you were going up against. And because we're on 2 different courses, we can say Patrick Reed and Rory were essentially the same on Thursday, even though Reed is leading the tournament and Rory is T21, which is that's a weird thing, but that's how that is literally what strokes gained is.
Yeah, and the way that I always think about it when we have different courses is like in track, like at the Olympics, where one guy is in the the inside lane, he's running a shorter, so it's like they're coming for it. That North course is out there for Rory and those guys tomorrow. So
would you real quick?
Yeah,
would you rather play the South? Like, which side of the draw would you have rather been on if there's bad weather on Friday?
So I personally always thought that you want to play the easiest course on the easiest day and just see how low you can go. But I think what we kind of heard from the telecast and what some guys might feel is that you want to play the harder course in easier conditions and just try to like get around the easier course in tough conditions the best that you can. So I would prefer to just put a foot on the pedal, but I'm not sure there is a right answer.
I think there's probably isn't right. There probably is statistically a right answer, but I think I'm with you in that I'd rather play the easier course on the easiest. I'd rather have the Reed and Alex Noren and Scotty Scheffler draw than the Rory and Ryan Palmer and Peter Malnati.
For sure. And the one name that we haven't chatted about is Alex Noren, who at the end of the day, Thursday, snatches half of the value out of Patrick Reed first round leader bets because he comes in a flurry, also shoots a 64, including a 31 on his inward 9. This is obviously a place that has plenty of good vibes for Alex Noren because his career best result on the PGA Tour was this event in 2018 when he lost in a playoff to Jason Day.
I could not have told you that. I had no idea that was true. What, has he even been playing?
I don't know. Do you remember when he was like the 11th ranked player in the world?
Yeah. So I have a friend so Noren went to Oklahoma State, and I have a friend who his wife dated Alex Noren for very briefly. It was like just went on a couple of dates. Yeah, he played last week, T40. So anyway, he always jokes with us that he's like, yeah, my wife dated somebody who was top 10 in the world at something. He goes, I'm not even top 10 like in my neighborhood at anything. So that's a pretty humbling thing.
That's pretty good. Yeah. So his peak official world golf ranking was 8th. That was mid 2017. He went on a tear in Europe and he became the 8th ranked player in the world. And now he is number 96. So trying to improve on that ranking this week. Looking ahead. So now we've got to play this game that you were referencing earlier about we've got guys who are going to now flip-flop courses. They're going to go and play either the easier side or the more difficult side. So the names like Peter Malnati, Ryan Palmer, who did shoot those low rounds on the South course, kind of in a bit of a pole position, but with some of the weather and things, I think this thing could go sideways on Friday.
Yeah, it could. I'm sorry. I'm looking up strokes gained tee to green. Who is Tane Lee?
I don't know, but he gained 5 strokes from tee to green.
That sounds like a like PGA Tour was testing some stuff out, and they just like they just like randomized the names, and then they forgot to
create a player.
They forgot to take him out. So Palmer's 3rd, Rory's 4th, tee to green. Finau, my guy, 7th. Yeah, Friday's going to be interesting because, like you said, you're going to kind of sort out if there's weather. I mean, we talked about this earlier in the week. Remember whenever Snedeker won in, what was that, 2014 or?
I think it was later. I think it was 16, actually.
16. And it's just like, the average score was 77, or just something silly. And so, you could get into that kind of situation where, if you go out and shoot 73 on the North course, Like if Rory shoots 73 on the North Course tomorrow, he might be leading the tournament on Friday night. I have no idea. Like probably not, but that is a scenario that's in play. I think he's super interesting. I think Finau's interesting. You picked Ryan Palmer, which was, looking good so far. 18 holes.
I was telling you before we went hot, if I could I'm trying to convince producer Jacob, cash me out right now. I'll take T4 money right now. Like, I know he's in really great shape. He played well from tee to green. He played the harder course. Like, there's just so much that can happen and so many guys. I'll just take my T4 money right now and I won't say a word.
We should have the option to where you can take your player at any time during the week, but then you have to sit out the next week.
So can I wait until Sunday afternoon and pick the winner?
No. You can pull your guy out and take whatever money is he's at.
What if my guy goes? So I pick the guy who goes out first. He makes birdie, or do I have to wait till after a round? Or like he's in the lead
after a round. So if Palmer's leading on Saturday night, you just say, okay, I'm taking him out. I collect first place money, but I have to sit out the next event. That's
great. I love that. That's so good because basically that it kind of cuts it in half a bit because you're now using it for 2 events. I love that.
Yeah, it would be great. I'm all for just chaos when it comes to these games. So yeah, it's really hard to like sort through this board because you've got all these guys that are in the top 20. It's like North Course. Okay, what does that mean? Like, does that even mean anything? Like, Wanto Griffin shot at 66 on the North Course. I don't know what that's telling me. I mean, I statistically I know what it's telling me, but I don't know if that means anything for the rest of the event. But the guys that shot it on the South Course, you're like, okay, that's a real thing. Like that should translate to somebody leading on Friday night or at least contending on the weekend, which is why, Rory being up there, Finau sort of being up there. Who else is up there that's on the South? Rahm, 3 under. Like those are real scores.
And the way they did it, right? So for Rory, he gains a stroke putting, but was phenomenal off the tee, was phenomenal on approach. Tony Finau, same thing. Tee to green, he was great. He shot a good score. Even John Rahm, I know I'm naming the best players in the world here, but like they also profile moving forward. So it's no surprise that Rory's 5.5 to 1. Rahm is 6.5 to 1, and it's Patrick Reed who's also 6.5 to 1. So if you like that Tony Finau number, he's 18 to 1, which is probably, if I remember correctly, he's probably longer now than he was to start the event, right? He was probably 15 or 16.
He was 20 to start.
Was he 20?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but then on the flip side of it, like if you're Hovland, Xander, Ricky, Bubba, you're like, oh, I shot 2 under on the North Course. Well, that's not very good. Like you lost strokes, right? So you got to go out and shoot a pretty good round on Friday just to make the cut. So I don't know. It is, we talk about this probably every year, but it is kind of like a weird nuance to events like this where the courses are like, there's such a differentiation.
Did you see, this is the stat of like my life. So Richie Werenski makes an ace on number 3 this morning.
I saw this.
It is the second straight round at the Farmers Insurance Open he's had a hole-in-one. Are you kidding me? That's insane, right?
It's so weird. Yeah, it's so bizarre. He had a good round on the South Course.
Our very own Mark Immelman has checked in the chat, and he would like us to talk about his Cam Smith one and done pick, which Cam Smith shot a 6 under rounds, KP, a 66 on the North Course. He's got to go to the harder side, but Mark is looking for a Thursday evening not a victory, a full victory lap, a victory jaunt, just a little jog, I think.
A crowning. He wants a crowning. Yeah, so 6 under on the North Course is equivalent to, I mean, like Finau's beating him right now. And Finau's T32 in the event. So I'm not super excited about it. It's a good pick.
Check in with us again on Friday, Mark, and we'll see how that pick is looking. Before I let you go, KP, the PGA show. So virtual this year. This is how to describe this. This is when all the golf companies, big and small, commercial or personal, get to tell you, here's 10 extra distance. Here's 10 extra yards off the tee. Here's something that'll make you roll in every single putt. Here's a way to speed up golf rounds, all that stuff, right? That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, we have been talking about a lot of that stuff all week. I made some videos just kind of highlighting the different pieces of equipment and just different stuff going on. It's weird, it's such a marker for me going to these different events, whether it's that or majors or whatever. And then I'm like it's almost like my whole like schedule and body are messed up because I went to the Masters in November and then I'm not at the beach. It's just like there's such a rhythm to it and we're out of that rhythm. But it's been fun. I thought it was cool. I interviewed Kerry Haig, who's the Chief Championships Officer for the PGA of America earlier this week. And he talked about Kiowa, Whistling Straits, Southern Hills, obviously where the PGA is going next year. And I try to talk to him every year. He's great. So people can go listen to that. I think that was on a previous episode. Are we tacking it onto this one?
No, I think it's in the feed right now. I'm pretty sure I saw it.
I'm pretty
sure I saw it earlier. Yeah.
Also on YouTube. So yeah, it's been cool. Always enjoy it and just doing it from a distance this year.
Is there any specific product or anything cool that's caught your attention while you've been? I feel like you're probably deeper into this than most. So is there anything we should be keeping our eye on?
Yeah, it's hard for me because I don't get super deep into I'm not a gearhead, and so I kind of like wade in like dangerously once or twice a year. I'm trying to think of one of the big things has been the TSI drivers, the Titleist TSI drivers. A lot of guys put that in. I know Adam Scott was playing it at the end of last year. A bunch of guys playing it at Tournament of Champions and Sony. So that was one big one. And then what was the Odyssey White Hot putters? I wrote about that today. Do you remember those back in like 2000?
Yeah, they're bringing them back, right?
Yeah. So it's like this, and that's what you should do if you have like a very nostalgic product like that. Right. They're bringing them back, modernizing them, and they're pretty cool looking. I don't have one, but we did highlight those and just kind of point them out this year.
The thing that I noticed, and I noticed it because Rom, I guess, put a new 2-ball in play this week. Have you seen these putter shafts that are like super long? They're like super thick. Rom has one in his 2-ball now. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like a counterbalance thing, but they look cool. And I assume that there is some technical jargon that makes them better for putting.
Yeah, I read about that with the Odyssey putters, but I can't, my eyes start glazing over when we get into the Bryson terminology, and I just want something that feels good and looks cool, but really just it looks cool. I don't even care about how it feels.
Correct. I'm going to putt poorly no matter what. Right.
I want it to look sweet. Yeah. That's my whole like life aesthetic right now. Whatever. Like as long as it looks cool, we're good.
All about that facade. I love it. We will be back after every single round of the Farmers Insurance Open doing this breakdown. But for now, that right there, that is Kyle Porter. And you can find him on Twitter at Kyle Porter CBS. You can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut, and we'll catch you next time.